I know that word phrases can be really distracting, and it's really difficult sometimes to get the exact right amount and what each variable means. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go through the problem and annotate and mark it up looking just for the variable. So I'm marking up and I'm going to underline the variable. I'm actually going to write that down. For the markup, I'm going to do several things, but the first thing I'm looking for is to underline the variable. I'm going to model doing this with y'all. Mr. Dickherber has 10 less nickels than twice the number of quarters. He has in his pocket for a total of +60. Which the following equation shows the number of quarters of x that Mr. P has in his pocket. Shows the number of quarters of x that Mr. P has in his pocket. I am going to go through again and do more markup, but right now all I want to do is make sure we all know our variable x is the number of quarters. A variable stands for a number. Your variable name should always start with the number of something. To make sure I make that notation. Miles got that down. Now, as I go through this second time, I am going to circle operators and make key gist notes. So I'm going to read this problem a second time, circle the operators, and make gist notes. It says Mr. Dickherber has 10 less nickels. Stop. 10 less nickels. This is one of the most difficult operators to deal with. 10 less nickels means I'm taking 10 away from something. I'm taking away 10 from something. 10 less nickels, then twice the number of quarters. Twice the number of quarters. Well, that means 2 times the number of quarters. Luckily, I've already named my variable. X is the number of quarters, so I can say it's 2 times the number of quarters to x. For a total of 160. Total is like a sum. You add 2 things together, and we get exactly 160. $1.60. As I go through, I'm going to first eliminate answer choices that don't make sense. So right now I can see that this problem is trying to trick me with question B. 10 less than does not mean 10 minus, it means take 10 away. Question D did the same thing. 10 less than does not mean 10 minus, it means take 10 away from. That made my answer choices clearer. Next, I'm going to write the expression. I'm going to write my expression using those gist notes. Because I've made really good annotations, it's much easier for me to write an accurate equation. So as I look at this, I know that I have 10 less nickels and twice the number of quarters. This expression right here, 2x minus 10 is the number of nickels. As I look at the answer choices that I have, I'm thinking to myself, well, a nickel is worth 5 cents. This represents a nickel. 0.05 represents a nickel. So I'm looking for a nickel times, like, how much is a nickel worth, times how many nickels do I have. I don't have X nickels. That's the number of quarters. I don't want to multiply 5 cents times the number of quarters. Quarters are not worth 5 cents. Part C says the amount of quarters worth times the number of quarters plus the amount of nickel is worth times the number of nickels is $1.60. By naming my variables, this equation is a little bit clearer. Let's look at number 2. It says, Terry is saving money to buy a new PS4. I'm going to read this through, and I'm going to annotate same step, underline my variable. He's already saved $65, earns typically 5 each hour that he works, and he needs $355 to buy the PS4. Write an equation or equality the models, here it is, the amount of hours you will need to work. I'm going to name the variable. H is the number of hours Terion works. Mion's got that down. Tamia's got that down. Thank you, I know you're writing. Okay. I'm going to read it through again, so I'm going to make these key annotations. So going through, he's already saved $65. I'm going to circle that. Already saved $65. This is a constant. He has $65. It doesn't matter how many hours he works. So he's going to add $65 to the amount of money he makes from working. He earns $10.25 each hour that he works. So $10.25 times the number of hours. 10.25 times, we define that variable H as the number of hours he works. Here comes the hard part. Terion needs at least $355. Here's my thought process. Can he have exactly $355 called out?
Yes.
If he has $355, can he afford a PS4? Yeah, he has exactly $355. Can he have less than $355?
No.
Can he have more?
Yes.
So, he needs more than or exactly $355. More than or exactly $355. Step 1, find your variable and name it. Step 2, go back, read it again, find the key operations, and make just notes. Step 3, I'm going to write my equation, the expression, all that. Once I have all these notes, it becomes relatively easy because I've made great annotations. He makes $10.25 each hour. He already has 65, and he needs more than or exactly $355. 2 parts to my answer: define my variable, write an inequality, and we're done. I can gut check this answer. I should be able to read it and make sense. $10.25 for every hour he works. Yup. Plus the 65 he has. Yup. Is more than or exactly the 355 he needs. Yup. This makes perfect sense. Using these notes in the same process. Answer questions 1 and 2 directly below this. I'm looking for you to name the variable, make those annotations, and then write the equation. I'm going to give you all 6 minutes to do both problems. John Marco already started to behave it. I love it. Mariana's already naming her variable number 1. In 1 minute, I'm coming around to check that you've correctly named your variable on number 1.